the number that you entered is 77. So we know that the values are the same, 77 and 77 the same, but we need to figure out if the type is the same, right?
Yeah.
Because triple equals checks value and type.
In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to troubleshoot JavaScript code by showing you a tutoring session I did with one of the students in my coding bootcamp as we worked on a JavaScript project that he was building. So in this tutoring session, you are pretty much going to see us troubleshoot his number guessing game, which is a JavaScript application. And we are going to be trying to figure out why his JavaScript project isn't working correctly, even when a user guesses the right number in his number guessing game. And to help us figure this out, we're going to be going over how to use the JavaScript console and console log to view values of the code that you're working with. And we'll also be talking about the difference between double equals and triple equals when it comes to comparing two values. Make sure that you watch this video all the way through, especially if you're interested in seeing what learning to code with the mentor actually looks like. My name is TJ, and I'm a self-taught software engineer that teaches beginners like yourself how to code and helps them to get jobs as software engineers in my coding bootcamp. Check the description below to learn more and grab my coding curriculum that has tutorials, tutorial videos, practice problems, and projects to help you to get started on your coding journey. And make sure that you like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can keep making technical insights like this to help you learn the code. Now let's hop into the tutoring session.
Hey TJ.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good. Just a little bit tired, but how are you?
I'm good. Sorry about the tiredness, but
Yeah, no, just a long day at work, man, but I'll be okay.
yeah. Well, I guess yeah, let's solve this JavaScript problem, man.
Okay, cool. You want me to open my code editor?
Yeah. Open that and share your screen,
All right.
and we'll kick it off by console
Sure.
logging the two values that you're kind of working with right now. All right. So before you start, all right, so on line 22,
Yep.
can you console log the input?
Console log this where?
On line 22,
Yep. Oh, right
console
here.
log that input.
Oh, the value, the input. Okay.
Yeah, you see the input variable.
Yeah, this one. Okay.
All right, and then also console log where are you generating the random number that the person has to guess?
So right here.
Okay. All right. Well, shoot. On line 23, just console log the random number as well. So just press enter. There you go. All right. Do you know why we are doing this?
What we're doing, what? Console logging?
Yes, why we are console logging those two things.
Yeah, because we want to see what values they're going to give us.
Well, the issue we have is that whenever a user guesses the right number, that this logic isn't working, right?
This one down here, the one that you highlighted?
Yeah, the one I put the green box around.
Yes. Yep.
Right? Like that was the reason why you kind of scheduled like the first session, right?
Yes. Well, yes. Yep.
Right? Because anytime you guess the right number, it still doesn't really see it as the right number, and the game doesn't end. We need to figure out, all right, are we really guessing like the right number? All right. So save this and open up this web page so that we can actually run this.
You want me to open it up on Google?
Yeah, it just needs to be open up. So you can open up the server, etc. And make sure you do your console log. I mean, yeah, open up the console, the dev tools, so you can right click anywhere. No, you can just
Oh,
yeah, there you go, inspect. All right, and you can just press console up here just so that the whole thing is a console, and just guess a random number here, and it'll kick off the console
just
log. Yeah.
so just put like a random number.
Yeah. So guess a number between one, because remember we put the console log inside of the check guess, right?
Yes.
So we have to guess for the console to actually log something.
Okay, cool.
Does that make sense though?
It kind of does make sense because I've never used console log in the dev tool in the in VS Code before. I haven't.
All right, so go back to your VS Code.
Mhm.
Like, I just really want to make sure that this makes sense. Go back to the script. So you
Yeah.
see the console log is right here,
Yeah.
and it is inside of what?
The event listener.
Yeah, meaning we have to click something for any of this logic
Yes.
to work, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Matter of fact, no, it'll be easier. Copy this and put it here outside of the console log. So that way we can just see right off the bat what the right number that we need is.
And then just
save that.
should I just delete this line from 20?
Delete. Wait, delete what line?
Just
Oh,
remove
on
line.
line 23. Yeah. As long as we have it up here, we don't need it on line 23. Does that make sense though? As to why we don't need to console log it twice? It's gonna be the same number.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be the same number because it's yeah.
The only thing I'm trying to do is I'm doing it here just so that you can know before you even guess what the correct number is to guess. So we can just quickly test this logic.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So let's go back to the dev tools and boom. So you see it already console logged that number up for us, right? And it's showing you this is coming from line 17 in your script, from line 19 in your script.js. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. So yeah, so hold on, I'm just trying to. So we console log it here, and we get to see what the number is, and then that number is automatically just logged to the console since we're calling that number or calling that.
Yeah. So this is the console, right? This is the console.
Yeah.
Anything you console log in your code is going to show up here.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So where do you use console log? Because this is how you should be trying to figure out what's going on in your code. You should be console logging so you know what you're even working with.
Yeah. So it's funny because I typically when I'm doing these problems, I'll go to JSBin and then I'll use console log there. So I've never used console log in VS Code before. I always use JSBin.
Yeah. So you're saying VS Code, but this is the browser. This is Google Chrome, right? And so browsers have a built-in JavaScript console because JavaScript is built into every single browser. All right. So now that we know the correct number is 77, let's guess 77.
All right.
Let's just see what that returns for our input.
And just hit submit, right? Yeah.
Yep. So it kind of looks like the same thing. Okay, so open up a new tab and search, because remember, sorry, go back to VS Code. So this triple equals is checking to make sure that the input and the random number, for them to triple equals, they have to be the same value and the same type. So far, we have shown that they are the same value, right? The random number is 77, and you entered 77 as the input, and it console logged that as well, too. You see how it did it here on line 22?
Yep.
You see that? On line 22 is where you put the console log in your VS Code.
Yeah.
Right. So the number that you entered is 77. So we know that the values are the same. 77 and 77 the same, but we need to figure out if the type is the same, right? Because triple equals checks value and type. So let's go into the browser now, into that tab that you open up, and let's Google JavaScript check type. Okay, so before you even kind of click on this, do you understand why I even Googled this?
Because you want to make sure that they're the same type and value. Because if it's just the same, if it's just the same value, then it's not really going to operate the right way. If I'm not wrong.
If it's you are using triple equals.
Yeah, which checks the
Triple-
type of value. Yeah.
Yeah, it checks the value and the type. You doing the console log, you just prove that the values are the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't know what the type is, right? Because that's the other aspect of the triple equals. And you are trying to understand why your triple equals doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why so basically I'm like trying to help you understand how to get to this point that you are Googling this.
Yeah.
Like I'm basically trying to help you troubleshoot this. It's like, okay, I'm using triple equals and I know this checks value and type. And I see that the values are the same. So the only thing left to check is the type.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in JavaScript has a type of. So click here and let's look at how to use it. So type of returns a string indicating the type of the operand's value. So you can do console log type of, and it'll tell you, number. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what we are going to do. We are going to go console log type of input, console log type of random number. All right. So let's go back to your code and let's update our console logs here.
Okay.
So on line 19, let's put type of in front of random number.
Okay. Is it with, camel case? No, it's not camel case. How's the syntax? Oh, it's just a space, and then do the same for this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Does that make sense as to why we are doing this?
Yeah, because we want to see what the type is. We already know when we log into the console, we already know that the values are the same. So we want to check and see whether or not the types are the same.
Awesome. So boom, let's go. Let's go back to your app, to your number guessing game. All right. So you see, it tells you that the random number is a number.
Yes.
So just enter a random number here and let's see what it tells you that is now.
Oh.
Do you now see why the triple equals isn't working? Because you're comparing a number to a string.
Right. Number to a string. Okay.
Right? Like those are two different types.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you have a number 77 and you have a string 77.
Mm. So the math seal random number hold on.
Generates a number.
So it generates a number. Okay.
But this is generating
a string.
a string.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because this is the thing that you entered. And it's on line 22 in your script.js.
Okay.
So we need to make the types match.
Yeah.
So how do you convert a string into a number?
You just use double equals, right?
No. I said, how do you convert a string into a number?
Sorry.
You would now look that up. Yeah, so just literally Google that. JavaScript convert string into number, right?
So parse int use parse what's anyway.
Parse integer, parse int.
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
that?
the int stands for integer.
Let me just browse these other ones. Okay. Oh, math. Let me see. Let me look at another reference.
Well, hold on. So tell me what's going through like your head, right? I'm here to try to help you think through this. So tell me what's going through your head when you look at number 1 versus number 2.
Oh, looking at both these. No, I'm just trying to kind of just read and see which method is going to be a little bit easier.
I mean, what's the difference, right? Like you basically have to. It's kind of similar. You still have to type something. Either you're typing number or you're typing parse int, and you're passing it something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's no real difficulty there.
Okay, yeah. So let's try
Do you see like the difference though in these two?
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I didn't read the second one too well. Let me see. Okay, I guess they're kind of the same. I guess the difference between this one, well, integers, it rounds it off to the lowest if you put a decimal, it rounds it off to the lowest integer,
Mhm.
% and number just gives you the actual value, but
The number just strictly converts the string into a
yeah,
number. It doesn't
yeah.
do any rounding up or down. It just
Mhm.
converts.
So I would
So
say, sorry, go ahead.
no, you go.
So I would say maybe I'd use number since it's more straightforward.
Yeah, let's try that out. Yeah, let's go to VS Code, and it's just a capital number. So since you have, so you can basically on line 21, you can basically put all this inside of number.
Mm. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's the input value. Yeah.
And so let's now see if our type of
Mhm.
is now giving us a number for both of them instead of a string. All right. So you can just enter anything there and hopefully it should return number.
Mhm. Oh yeah, it does.
All right. So now we can remove the type of from the console logs just so we can see what the actual number to guess is. So we can test to see if that logic is working. So remove type of from line 19 so we can see what our random number is that we need to guess correctly.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And now let's go back. So the number is 2. Yeah. So guess 2 and let's see if that works now.
Yes, it does.
All
Yeah,
right.
this stuff is very interesting though, because there's a lot of like small details, and I think I need to get better at that. Like,
I mean,
mm,
that's what these problems are designed to do. They are designed to introduce you to these different like nuances, right? Because really the things you're dealing with now is the difference between double equals and triple equals.
mm,
And keeping in mind that you like have to understand what type of object you're actually working with. Is it a string? Is it a number? Is it, you know what I'm saying? Like all that stuff matters.
wow.
And
Okay.
those are all things that you can check, you can easily check those things.
Mm.
So the main thing that I want to make sure that you understand is like, do you kind of understand how we got here and we were able to troubleshoot this?
Yeah, yeah, and I even learned to that whole console log. I never knew that was a thing where you can just console log it in your script.
Mm-hmm.
Console log, let's say like a variable in your script, and then see what that variable comes out to.
Yeah, man. Here, let me show you something else.
Yeah.
Let me just show you something else you can use to debug. Go back to VS Code.
Yeah.
I think I might have showed you this in the last thing. But you can just put debugger here. Just type the word debugger. Let me delete that box out your way. There you go. And yeah. So now go back to your thing.
Mhm.
So basically that word debugger, sorry, can you go back to VS Code? So basically, whenever you now click, this code is going to execute and stop right here on line 23. It's going to stop executing right on line 23, and it's going to give you access into inside of the code. So when you're inside of the code, you can now see what all these different variables mean. Matter of fact, it'll be a lot easier to show you than to really talk about it. So just guess a random number. So go back to your app
Yep.
and guess a random number now. And you'll see how this changes stuff. Press enter. Boom. See that? It now takes you inside of the code, right? So it shows you what
Oh.
this is. You see? It
Mhm.
shows you that input is 2, right?
Yes.
If you put your mouse and just hover over this input,
Yeah.
boom, it shows you what that is. Hover like over the random number,
Oh, wow.
right?
So it looks at it. So it pretty much tells you every single thing from from there on upwards.
Yep,
Like,
yep. So like the code stops executing right there, and you have access to see everything before that line of code.
mm,
So hover over the my form and let's see what that shows you. Right, like it shows you like the actual like element breakdown in the code. But if you come here to the console, you can like actually type my form. So come here. Yeah, and just type my form and press enter. Boom, it gives you like your actual form, right? If you click that drop down, it gives you the form that you created in HTML. Type input, your variable input, type that.
So type of
console.
Okay. Down here? Wait.
Yeah, down. Yeah. And press boom. Right. So you see how it gives you access. So this is helpful, right? You know how like all this logic that you're writing, it's hard to write it if you don't know what's being stored in these variables. Right. So now you can either do console log to console log what those variables are, or you can use debugger. And it's like taking you and like sticking you inside of the code, pretty much. Does that make sense as to how this is working and just how you can use these two tools moving forward to troubleshoot your code and logic?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think the console log definitely helps because it's something that's obviously new to me. And I never knew that was, I could just console log it there and then go to the console over there and then just see what, what comes out. But it's
Good stuff, man. Yeah, this is it. So yeah, hopefully these two kind of help make just writing JavaScript code a lot easier. Don't feel like you have to write logic in the dark. You can just use a debugger to get you into the code and then start testing out your logic in the console when you have access to all the information that you're trying to work with.
Yeah,
because now all this code after the debugger, you can like copy and paste this code into the console, and you can execute this code to see what it's going to equal. Does that make sense?
What do you mean what it's going to equal?
All right, so right now, hover over number of guesses is 0, right?
Yeah.
And then copy line 24, and let's paste that into the console.
Over here.
Down there, and let's paste it and press enter. Yep, press enter. Boom. So you see, it actually executed that code.
Yeah. Yep.
So that way you can like test out to see what other stuff is, right? So now you can see, all right, you can like copy number of guesses greater than 3. So copy that and paste that into your console. And let's see if this is true or not. I mean, you can already tell that it's going to be false. So I mean, do you see how it basically tells you it's false when you hovered over it?
Oh yeah. Wait. So so it's telling me that it's false because.
Well, hover over number of guesses. It's 2.
So they only have 2 guesses.
So is 2 greater than 3?
Oh no, of course not.
False. Yeah. So I'm saying you even though the debugger stops on line 23, you can still use the console to manually execute the code afterwards to see what it's gonna look like and actually be. Is that making sense?
Yeah, it's making some sense. Yeah.
You said some sense. Come on, I'm doing all this work. He said.
I mean, I'm like absorbing the information slowly.
That's fair. That's fair. And look, I honestly don't even use debugger much. I just use console log, right? So just kind of like continue to use that, because really the more experience you get with console log, the easier it'll be for you to now switch to debugger, right? Because it's doing the same thing without you having to individually console log everything.
So because now you can just hover over like certain like variables and then
exactly, because before you have to put a console log on line 19, you put one on line 22, but with the debugger you can just put it in one place, and then boom, you have access to everything, every line of code that's executed before that.
Yeah.
And if you want to exit this, you can just go back into your VS Code, delete the debugger, and then come back out here and just refresh the page, okay? All right, Peter, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you so much, man, for going through this with me. Because yeah, it's I definitely needed this because I was kind of confused with like every like how to solve this problem.
I see, I see. No problem.
I
All
have a
right, man.
question for you. I have a question, quick question.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, it's horrible to compare yourself to other people. I don't think it's a good thing, but so I would say, so how quick, like how comfortable did you get, how long a time did it take you to get comfortable with JavaScript to the point that you were able to just like do these things from the time you started like um coding
Oh
with Google?
man. You that's like 2015 that you're asking me about, man. I have no clue where my head was at back then. But the thing I know I did is the same thing that I'm telling you to do. Like after struggling with these problems and solving them, I would treat it like a math problem. I would then do it again. You know what I'm saying? Like I would basically redo the problem and try to get as far as I could before looking at the answer.
Yeah,
Right. And anytime that I had to look at the answer, I would understand why I got stuck there and how I could have figured it out on my own, like using Google and all of that. You get, and then I would redo the problem. And so my goal was to just try to keep getting as far as I could, just using my own resources without looking at the answer. So that's how I was kind of able to really speed up the process for me. Because then after I like understood all of it, it was now easier to just look at the code and just read it and just like understand what's going on in the code.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah. It does.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, thank you so much for
No, of course. Of course. Good job. So yeah, make sure that you update this code and everything is working, as it should, and then send it to me for feedback and review. All right.
all right, sounds good, man. Thank you.
All right, later.
And that's it. So hopefully now you have a way better understanding of how to use the JavaScript console and console log to know the values that you're working with in your code and the difference between double equals and triple equals. Matter of fact, comment below the difference between double equals and triple equals just to let me know if you really understand how it works, all right? Now, don't forget to check the description for more resources to help you on your coding journey. And again, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel for more technical insights and tutoring sessions like this to help you on your coding journey. And comment below any questions you have, and I'll get back to you.